This is the Nations Conspire channel. Welcome to today's show. I have to do a video on Kim Kardashian yet again because Kim Kardashian has gone viral with one of the more demonic, disturbing videos you will see posted on the internet. The video gives off a very snuff film type of style, gives flashbacks to things that involve pizza, so to speak. And of course, most people will see the video and they won't think much of it. Now, I can't go into deep detail with some of the imagery that was shown in the clip because there's a lot of partial nudity and things like that somehow get struck down on my channel when I expose it versus, of course, all the things that they allow to trend on YouTube, which are literally like pornographies that trend on here. But this video is called Santa Baby, and it might as well be called Satan Baby, being that Santa and Satan are one and the same. And of course, this is just Kim paying respects to her god, Satan. And Macaulay Culkin also is featured in the video. And these are two people who I've continually exposed. Of course, Kim Kardashian plays the role now like Elon Musk. All of these Satanists who go to the Met Gala, who all rub shoulders with people like Marina Abramovich, somehow get a free pass in today's society if they tell you that they vote or support the political candidate that you support. And that shows you how far we've truly fallen. So Kim Kardashian, of course, associated with Marina Abramovich, associated with Donald Trump, and associated with Elon Musk, but Kim will get a free pass, as Kim always does, and all of these people do, because it just depends, right? If one person's in a picture with Jeffrey Epstein, then they're automatically dubbed one thing. But if Donald Trump is in a picture with them, well, then you're over-exaggerating. You don't understand what's really occurring. If Elon Musk is in a picture with them, well, he's not one of them either. But if Tom Hanks is, then he's one of them. It shows you what really the mindset is in our world. It is a team. If you're on the same team as me, then I will turn a blind eye to whatever satanic, demonic things you're involved in. And recently, Kim Kardashian literally shed her flesh suit to reveal that she was a reptilian. Well, this was Kim's Halloween costume. And of course, you know that Kim knows exactly what Kim is doing by dressing up as a reptilian, even standing in that black goo, which I exposed a few months ago. And even recently, Kim Kardashian is pushing the transhumanist agenda by literally befriending a Tesla robot and then, in fact, doing a little more than just befriending the Tesla robot, because Kim was actually grinding on the Tesla robot and giving all sorts of hints at a romantic relationship with the robot. And of course, if you understand everything happening in the world, why Elon Musk was put in this position, where we're headed with AI governance and the normalization of these types of things, these celebrities play a huge role in normalizing this type of technology. You'll see them on their Twitter accounts. You'll see them on their Instagram accounts. You'll see them on their TV shows. They will be the ones who normalize this, and these will be the ones who eventually normalize and market the mark of the beast. Bet your bottom dollar on it. And again, Kim is somebody who's already normalized things like the vampire facial, which at first everybody was in an uproar about, that Kim was literally getting a vampire facial. But since then, since Kim has shown up at the White House with Donald Trump a couple of years ago, well, everybody just automatically doesn't think Kim's a witch anymore. And even recently, Kendall Jenner, the sister of Kim Kardashian, had a birthday celebration where one of the cakes said, "Witches don't age." But if that's not in your face enough, well, maybe this Santa Baby video will be. And remember, before seeing some of the imagery here, that Kim is on the record as saying, "I'm not in a cult. I'm a Christian." And apparently, in 2024, going into 2025, all one has to do is just say that they're Christian, even if they're literally eating a human heart, and people apparently will take them at their word. That's what we've seen with Donald Trump. In fact, it's gotten so bad that literally people believe that a DARPA magic bullet could miss Donald Trump's ear because divine intervention occurred. And all they needed, of course, was just a little Sinclair broadcasting to tell them over and over and over again that it was divine intervention. And that's how the hypnotism works, ladies and gentlemen. So this video, we see Kim Kardashian, she's crawling for the entire video, singing Santa Baby. And again, that's Satan Baby, we see some demonic looking elves, because really, what do you think elves actually are with their demonic nose? Well, I think we all actually know what they are. They actually are a certain group of people that always is the victim. They look like kind of like little goblins. Yeah, well, that's what an elf really is depicted as. But we see these elves in a kitchen, and of course, right off the bat, while she's singing Dear Satan, we see a mockery of Jesus Christ, right? We see Jesus going into a refrigerator, some guy dressed up with the crown of thorns. And yes, I understand that this isn't really what Jesus probably looks like, but it's the message that I'm trying to get across here of what Kim Kardashian is doing. This is a mockery of Christianity, even showing the nativity scene, while around in these clips, which I'm not showing you the pictures of, while they're showing you a nativity, while they're showing you Jesus, they're showing people crawling around nude. People are playing Twister nude. We see bodybuilding men nude. We see all sorts of just bizarre behavior. And like I said, it looks like it's right out of a snuff film, maybe something that Terry Richardson produced. And I'll get to Terry in a minute because there's a connection with Terry Richardson, of course, and this video. So as we continue on, there's more mockery of Christianity. And I understand that Christmas is Saturnalia, that Jesus was not really born on December 25th. But that does not mean that because it's Saturnalia that we should be giving all of these Satanists who pretend to be Christians free passes to mock our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And here they are, of course, mocking Mary, and that is the other sister, Kylie Jenner. So we had Kendall Jenner, I believe, earlier with the Witches Don't Age. Here's Kylie Jenner, and of course, just like her sister and all of her sisters, really, we see her doing the all-seeing eye symbolism all over the place, right? Because they can get away with it out in the open because they pretend to support Donald Trump, I suppose. That's how they get away with it. Of course, we've seen Kylie here, bathing in the red liquid that they love so much, right? And as the video progresses, you'll see random images like this, because again, this video is just nothing but bizarre clip after bizarre clip. And you get a cheerleader doing blatant all-seeing eye symbolism, right? I guess she's a fan of eyeballs as well, just like all the Kardashian sisters who always pose with a hand over the eye. Here she is holding that top hat over her one eye. And of course, the top hat really tells us what this is all about, because the top hat is a very symbolic symbol in Freemasonry. It means the authority of his office. The top hat is worn by the worshipful master of a Masonic lodge. It symbolizes the master's authority and rank and is a sign of respect to be shown to him. They say that the top hat is a reference to the crown worn by King Solomon and is a token of the master's superiority. Now, you might remember that massive ritual they did about 20 years ago or so now, where Madonna came down the Masonic staircase at the MTV Music Awards. It was a big deal back then. Nobody watches this stuff anymore, thankfully, at least not as much as they used to. But Madonna came down, and it was a Masonic ritual, an initiation for Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. Came down the stairs wearing the top hat. Madonna wasn't wearing the top hat because she thought she was going to look sexy wearing a top hat. These are rituals that are performed right in front of our faces on a consistent basis. So this is clearly some type of ritual. Some people believe, from what I've read, that this is a humiliation ritual for Kim. That's highly doubtful at this stage of where Kim Kardashian is, that she would be put through a humiliation ritual. In fact, I don't think that they would find this video humiliating at all from their perspective, because these are demonic beings that find these types of weird, strange things to be entertaining. And it's clearly some type of messaging involved in this video that's paying homage to something that we probably don't even know about. Because this is really, if you look at it, this is what you would think a horror story would look like inside of the Rothschild's castle, or maybe even on that fictitious island that they keep telling everyone to pay attention to, that a guy named Jeff used to live on. Of course, we know the government has fed that operation down people's throats for the last couple of years. We even saw a transgender laying on the kitchen table, seeing people swimming in clear bathtubs in the middle of a living room. And then Kim continues to crawl, because the entire video, Kim is just crawling on the floor and then eventually gets to Satan Claus. And who's playing the role of Satan Claus in the video? Well, it's Macaulay Culkin. And much to my surprise, and again, this shows you, like I've talked about, separating yourself from the Matrix. It means that you have to realize that they're all in on it. You can't just say, well, I like Home Alone, so I'm not going to believe that Macaulay Culkin is involved, because Macaulay Culkin is not just involved. He's deeply involved. And that might be because when Macaulay Culkin was pushed into Hollywood, it was done to him. But guess what? Now Macaulay is one of the people doing it. And of course, Macaulay openly shows us these things. You can look at Macaulay Culkin and you should be able to say, wow, there's something dark going on the inside. But I've covered Macaulay, and my deep exposes of Macaulay Culkin are available on the website. But let's just start here real quickly as Kim crawls up to the legs of Macaulay Culkin. Macaulay Culkin wearing a Baphomet pentagram shirt, got the 666 sigils right on it, throwing up the devil horn. Of course, the most obvious thing that people should understand is that Macaulay has a band called Pizza Underground. Now, what do you think that means? Now, nobody knew what it meant 10 to 15 years ago when Macaulay was performing in the band, but do you think that he actually got a band together because they all love pizza? And somebody was like, that's a really artistic, creative idea. You can look at the imagery in Pizza Underground and you should automatically know. And if that's not enough for you, well, there's always bunny ears, right? Because do you think it's random that Macaulay Culkin has a podcast and it's called Bunny Ears? You think if Macaulay Culkin was going to start a podcast and Macaulay Culkin was like, hey, you know, I really want people to watch my podcast. I'd like it to become popular. I'm going to need a name so that people can kind of correlate me with the show, right? You ever see some of these podcasters, they have their podcast named after maybe one of the movies that they're in or whatever they might have become famous for, or maybe a catchphrase that they became famous for. Well, not Macaulay, because nobody has a clue why Macaulay Culkin is constantly wearing bunny rabbit ears. But I do. You see, people just think this is quirky behavior. When Macaulay's going on late night shows, when Macaulay is doing his actual interviews, even in his home, posing in front of his fireplace wearing bunny rabbit ears. And of course, everybody out there thinks that it's just his weird, quirky personality. Hey, Macaulay's a little different. He grew up in Hollywood, right? Well, no, that's not what it means. And I've explained this before. So let me try to do it as simply as I can. You know, like chemical compounds, like you see a chemical compound for hydrogen or carbon, right? Well, there's a chemical compound that everybody in Hollywood is really obsessed with. And that chemical compound happens to look a lot like that picture I showed you earlier of Kylie Jenner, who is laying and covered in it, right? It's a red liquid. And no, it's not pizza sauce. It's, well, pretty close to it. And the reason that the rabbit ears are a thing in Hollywood, like I've exposed with Channing Tatum and other celebrities, is because the chemical compound looks exactly like it. That's how they get away with these things. If you look up the chemical compound for this word that starts with A and ends with E, and I think it's got the word Google Chrome in the middle of it, you will see this chemical compound that looks just like a rabbit. And if it's not enough, for anybody out there wondering about Macaulay, if you were to look for one thing, I mean, on this channel over the years, right, we always look for the signs and symbols. All-seeing eye, pyramids, right? We all know the basic stuff. If you find a photograph of a celebrity with Terry Richardson, then you'll automatically know what they're involved in. Terry Richardson is somebody that nobody knows. But Terry Richardson is very famous and very rich, and he hangs out with all of these celebrities. You know why? Because Terry Richardson is the photographer of the stars. And he's not the photographer of the stars because he takes great all-seeing eye pictures that go on magazine covers. It's for the pictures that you'll never see or know about, because Terry takes those for his boys in the club. And Terry is posing with Macaulay Culkin at a young age. And of course, we know what it's all about, because if anybody out there, if you find a picture of him with Terry Richardson, well, you already should be able to automatically link these people to these practices in the occult. But this is just another dead giveaway. Here's one with him and my buddy Jared Leto, who's holding up the 666 sign while Terry's wearing Hotel California on his shirt. Do you think that's a coincidence? You know what? Hotel California and Chateau Marmont, which I've exposed before, which is also available on the website. You know the origins of that? That's where a lot of these rituals have taken place over the years. There's a soundproof room up on the top floor, which is why you hear stories about Marilyn Manson going there with his best buddy, Johnny Depp, who also just so happens to have a photo with Terry Richardson because they attend these things together. Terry Richardson also with Miley Cyrus, if anyone's wondering Miley Cyrus's connection. Very similar to Macaulay Culkin's with what Miley was born into from her father, who is, well, you can look at her father and see, or his father, that it's a deviant. Okay, you could see right through these demons, and this is another person that started off, we're having the acts probably done to them, and then of course as they get older, they become the ones who are the ones doing it and partaking in it. And I can't go into more detail than that, but this all goes back to that Armenian witch, right? If we're talking about Kim and Kylie and Kendall and the whole 9 yards of witches here that reside in the Kardashian-Jenner clan. Well, it goes back to Kris, right? And there's Kris sitting on its throne in its black and white Masonic checkerboard wall right behind it, her, him. I don't know what pronouns Kris identifies as, but these are the highest ranking witches in Hollywood, the Kardashian clan, if you haven't noticed yet. And if anyone out there hasn't noticed, it's time to wake up. It's time to snap out of it. Because you can't turn a blind eye to these people because they associate with your favorite political candidate. Because guess what? They're all in on it together. Donald Trump was once a Democrat. Elon Musk was once a Democrat. They flipped over so that they could work you and convince you that what they're doing is in your best interest. But it's not. They're bringing about the World Economic Forum's AI governance. And people like Kim Kardashian play a huge role in it. They are the social influencers who are going to influence society's behavior. That's the purpose that they serve. People over the years have given me crap about covering these people all the time. Well, when you look around and you see the mess that we're living in, look no further than the celebrities, because they're the ones who are responsible for the behavior, from people like Lil Nas X to Kim Kardashian. They're the ones who, quote unquote, set the trends, but they're not setting a trend. They're telling you what the coolest new stuff is because they're being told by their handlers to start promoting this or that. Just like all the celebrities are told that their kids are suddenly the opposite gender, right? And Kim Kardashian is now promoting transhumanism, is now normalizing that Tesla bot. And Kim and the Kardashian clan have always been very, very close to Elon Musk. Now, I'm sure the majority of people will see the video and they'll just be like, oh, it's just some weird artistic thing, because they don't want to believe it. And like I said earlier, it's on the people at this point. If you actually think any of these people from Trump to the Kardashians are actually good people, your vote actually counts, and these people are doing what's in your best interest, think again. They're all in on it. And as long as people continue to be fans of some of these people, well, we're never going to get out of this mess that we're in. So that is Kim's ode to Satan on Saturnalia, Santa Baby, which really is Satan baby. And Kim is nothing more than a satanic witch who continues to show you this right to everyone's faces out in the open. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.